Good afternoon, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. It really doesn't matter where I'm reaching at, does it? Because I'm going to reach you somewhere. If this message is meant for you. This is your brother Herman with another one of his updates, and could turn into a sermon. Just depends on how long it takes for it to get out and come across. I want to talk about this word that we call hate, that they've entitled hate. And everybody thinks that people are born that way, but they're not. I don't believe anyone is born to hate. I believe everybody that hates has been taught. I believe that hate is the ending result of what they've been taught. In other words, it starts out with being jealous of another or another group of people. It also could start out being envious, always like trying to keep up with the Joneses and that type of a thing. It'll start out with some kind of a back slander, like you're slandering the person's name, backstabbing them, all because you're jealous. You know what I mean? So why are you jealous? Now we got to get to that through that tunnel to find out why they are jealous. And they're usually jealous because that person or group of people have possessed something that God gave them, which is oftentimes a God-given gift. I mean, it could be the skin tone because the person of color doesn't have to lay out in the sun to stay colored and not be bothered by any kinds of skin cancers. It could be because they don't break out in blotches or whatever just because of the lightness of their skin. So usually the skin is painted on. They call them tattoos today. But they will cover their skin because they really hate the color of their skin. In essence, they are taught to love their skin, but they paint over their skin. So that's a contradiction in and of itself, which makes that the first step of hypocrisy. How can you love your skin or the skin that you're in if you're constantly painting over it? So they hate the fact that we don't have to get sunburned and suntanned and all kinds of, skin irritations and whatnot. That's one reason. They hate the fact that our hair is beautiful. It doesn't matter if it's short, long. It could be like mine, bald. But it's beautiful. They don't like their hair, so therefore they do all kinds of crazy colors to their hair. They cut their hair a certain way that just asymmetrical, and it just doesn't make any sense. They don't like the fact that we have a certain thing that we call soul. That means we are able to dance on key, on the beat. We're able to clap to the beat. We're able to get out there and just create a show. Like, Michael Jackson, or who can I say? MC Hammer kind of had them buck wild for a while. But you get what I'm saying. It's just come natural. It's one of our gifts that God blessed us with. Well, now I'm talking about the gifts that God blesses us with. So far, I've come up with talents, such as being able to dance to the rhythm, to the beat. Basketball, it just comes natural. Skating, it just comes natural. I mean, swimming, we don't really like it so much. I love it. But a lot of our brothers and sisters really don't get into it. But I actually do. And I can swim like a fish. It just comes natural. It just doesn't matter. Whatever we do, it just comes natural. Look at all the sports that we enter into and eventually take over. So envy and jealousy is the intravenous veins that lead to the organ called hate. So when you feed through the vein of jealousy and envy and let's just say hypocrisy and misinformation, disinformation, retaliation, I would say deception, a whole lot of that. I mean, that vein is pretty big. When you have all these veins leading to the same organ, that organ will eventually become hate. That's the name of the organ that's pumping inside of a person who has veins filled with deception and misinformation and envy and jealousy and backslander and just straight up everything Galatians in the book of Galatians chapter 5 verses 19 through 21. That is hate. Everything that you read are the veins, but when you get done reading, you're going to have an organ, and it's called hate. If you drop down to the next verses, 22 to 25 in Galatians, the book of Galatians, chapter 5, you will find the veins of Yeshua, of Jesus, of Christ Jesus, our Messiah. You'll find the veins of God, because God is filled with forgiveness and mercy and love and affection. He will oftentimes chastise us when we make mistakes, but that's what a good father would do. That's what a good parent would do. Any good parent, even a good big brother, a good big sister, a good big cousin, a good great big uncle, any grandparent would do the same thing when they love that child. So it's not about chastening the child. It's about, why did you chasten the child? Did you chasten the child because you're jealous of the child? Or did you chasten the child because you saw something in the child that could possibly be a skill or a talent that he or she could be misusing or not even aware of? You want them to become aware of the gifts, the talents that God gave them. So love comes from God. Patience comes from God. Tolerance comes from God. Understanding comes from God. Turning the other cheek, looking the other way when it's appropriate, comes from God. Uplifting comes from God. God sends people that he constantly blesses because they listen for the most part and obey him. So he will bless them. But this is how you know God is God. Because God, only he will take his good, obedient servant and send them into a place or a dwelling or an organization and use that good Samaritan, that good servant, to bless his enemies. That's how you know the difference between God and Satan. Because God will use someone who is walking in his steps, believing in his beliefs, doing unto others as they wish to be done unto, to go bless somebody who does the exact opposite. Why, Brother Herman? So that person, whoever is going against God's intentions, God's wills, God's principles, his values, his blueprint for humanity, anyone who chooses to do that is going to always want a reason to say, God doesn't love me, God, there is no God, and da-da-da-da-da. But we are used to shut that rhetoric down. How can you say that, Brother Herman? I'll say it once again. Satan will never use any of his to go bless any of God's. God will use his to go bless those that belong to Satan, including Satan himself. And how can you say that, Brother Herman? Because Satan is still active. He's very much active. He's very busy too. God is the only one that can protect you from him. But he will also use you when you commit to him, God I'm talking about, to be used to go bless those who you don't like, that you don't feel good about, or they talk trash about you. They're always trying to plot your demise. So you would rather not go around them at all. But God says he's the only one that'll say, hey, my son, I need you to go bless them too. Why, Father? Because that way they will never be able to have a platform to say that I didn't bless them too. This has been another one of Brother Herman's sermons. This has been episode number 9, I want to say, because I was wrong last time. It was actually episode number 8. So this is episode number 9. God, only God I'm going to leave it like that. I like it just the way that sounds. Inside of Series 29, God is Divine. Episode number 9, Only God. Only God. You want to know the difference between Satan and God? God is the only one that will send his into Satan's dungeon and bless them. Protect his servant while he's there blessing the serpent, and to make sure that he leaves that serpent's dwelling safely. Why, Brother Herman? So that the serpent can never say that God didn't love me too. Choose the right side so that you don't have to feel that kind of guilt. This has been another one of Brother Herman's sermons. May God continue to bless us all. May you have a great rest of your afternoon, your evening, and your night. Until next time, the wrap up inside of Series 29, God is Divine. No title yet for the wrap up. Take care of each other. The Brother Herman, another sermon, and I'm out.